let's take a look at this Nanyang Primary School P6 Prelim from 2022. Okay, so let's take a look at some grammar questions first. So question 1. The students were reminded to abide the school rules as outlined in the student handbook. Okay, so this question here is testing us on prepositions. Now, we observe that the verb, the action word that is given to us is abide. And at the back, the other keyword is school rules. So the author is telling us that you need to follow this source of information here, right? So with that in mind, let's take a look at the options. In here shows a position. I am in the house. The cat is in the car. To shows a destination. I am going to Japan. That's where I will end up. Then we have by here. So by shows some kind of source. On shows the surface of object. Okay? So in this case here, because we are following this source of information, right? AKA, also known as your school rules, the closest answer we have is number 3, abide by. Okay? Now, some of you may know phrasal verbs, right? So abide by here is a phrasal verb as well. And this means that you accept to follow a rule or decision. Okay? That means the two words need to come together. You cannot change it to abide to or something else because it's phrasal verbs. Okay? But as I've explained earlier, for those of our friends out there who are not very confident about phrasal verbs, you can still choose your answer based on the purpose of the different prepositions. Okay? Now moving on, look at number 2. Not a single passenger dash hurt when the bus skidded on the wet road. So question 2 is testing you on subject-verb agreement. It's a very commonly tested question. Okay? Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, it's much better now. Okay, let's take a look at the keywords here. Right, we have the word not, which means zero, nobody. As such, we will be using the singular. We will consider this as a singular form. Right? Next, we observe that the bus skidded, which suggests that this happens in the past. This happened in the past. So these two clues here, singular and past tense, points me to number 3 as my answer. Now the passengers was hurt. Okay. Now let's take a look at number 3 now. Okay, number 3 reads Benedict looked dash then happy when she was not selected for the basketball trials that she had trained hard for. Alright, so number 3 here is testing you on determiners. Now, what are determiners? Basically, they are words that convey the quantity of something. Now, the keyword that we are interested in is then. This is the first keyword, which shows some kind of comparison. The next thing that we observe is the word happy. So happiness here is uncountable. Okay. Looking at the options, the first word that we have is few. So few here is countable and low quantity. Next, we have less. This is uncountable and of low quantity. Little, uncountable, low quantity. And more, which is uncountable and high quantity. Okay, now the difference between our option 2 and 3 is that less is a comparative word. Okay, as such, when we encounter such questions with the word than, we need to choose a comparative determiner. So in this case here, our answer would be number 2, less than happy. Okay, I think all of us are quite clear. We need to look at the context as well, right? So in this case here, we observe that she was not selected for the basketball trials, which suggests that probably she must be very unhappy because she worked hard for the trials and eventually she did not get selected for it. Okay? I will say that this question is quite commonly tested for determiners, just that we don't usually encounter comparative ones. Okay, only in the rare scenarios then we have the comparative ones, and that's where we need to pay extra attention, right, to our subject of the sentence. Okay, hope everyone is following so far. Now let's move on to number 4. Okay, so number 4 here reads, dash you decide not to go on the school trip, you will get a refund. Hello, Adrian. So for question 4 here, we are looking at what we call modal auxiliary verbs. Okay, so in this case here, we are looking at how the author decide not to go on a school trip. So this is a particular action, the need to do something, right? Is there live tomorrow? No, there will not be any live tomorrow, Adrian. Only this afternoon. Okay, so we're looking at an action here. Now let's take a look at the options. The first one is can. Can shows the ability to do something. Shall is used to show determination. I shall finish my homework tomorrow. Okay, Lim Jerry, your English class, is it a lot go compo writing? Well, for our Writers at Work classes, they are both pure English lessons as well as compo writing. So they are two different categories, all right, Lim Jerry. So it depends on which kind of lessons you would like you to enroll your child in. Okay, usually I would say that the important thing is to get the composition well and get it done properly. You know that for MCQ questions, we can always go through it during our TikTok live and things like that, right? But I'll say that for paper 1 and composition, it's a bit more difficult, to share information on TikTok. Usually we will do it on the whiteboard, with activities in class to help the students remember the lesson well. Yeah, that's why if you are looking at English classes, I'll highly recommend the composition lessons for your child. Okay, now as all of you may have known by now, we do conduct a lot of TikTok lessons with our paper 2. So actually, if you're just looking for somebody to go through and explain question by question, I feel that our TikTok has is very helpful. You can also go to our YouTube page. There are quite a few videos of our past TikTok recordings, so you can always catch up what you have missed at your own time. Okay, but that being said, if you like a very structured classroom environment for your child to learn paper 2 English, maybe he's lazy to search the meanings of the vocabulary words, maybe he needs somebody to supervise, then yeah, we do have our pure English lessons. So the teacher will just go through the papers, both our in-house papers as well as past year school papers as well. Okay, Lim Jerry, I hope that answers your question. Now let's take a look at question 4 again. We left off at the options. Yeah. So option 3 here is could. So could here basically is used to make a request or an offer. Okay. So maybe I can say, could you please bring me the cup of tea? So I'm requesting that you bring the tea over to me. And lastly, we have should. So should here shows that there is a need to do something. Okay, or some kind of obligation. So in this case here, we're looking at how the author has a need for something, right? Which is he decided to cancel the school trip, or cancel his slot in the school trip. So in this case here, our answer would be number 4. Okay. Okay, now moving on, let's take a look at number 5. Tom's never on time, dash he. Okay, this is a very commonly tested question tag kind of question. Okay, and we observe this keyword here with the apostrophe S. So it means we need to unpack it further. Okay. Okay. So back to our question, we are looking at Tom's, right? So this could either mean Tom is or Tom has. Okay, so we need to be very clear. So when it's Tom is, it will always be followed by never on time. If we are going to use the word has, Tom has, then it will be never been on time. Okay, so you need to be very careful on how the words, the tenses are being used here. So Tom is, this is present tense. On the other hand, if we say Tom has never been on time, this is in the participle form. Okay, so we are looking at two different tenses or two different forms here, and we need to be very clear on which one we are using. So we look at the word behind. Look at the words behind to determine which one to use, which one is the correct tense. Okay. So for this question here, because the answer is Tom is never on time, this is the positive, sorry, this is a negative connotation because of the word never. So at the back, I'll need to use a positive connotation, which would be EC. Okay, so the answer will be number 1. I think this is a pretty straightforward question. Okay, I would say that for question tag kind of questions, we have the very basic ones like this, or maybe we will have other examples like Mary has bought breakfast, dash she, right? Then it'll be hasn't she, right? These are the very basic kind that you are seeing in your grammar assessment book. But I think what is more important is our friends, we need to be clear on the more challenging kind that the prelim papers like to test us. For example, John usually goes to the market on Saturday. Dash he. Can you see that we don't have the word like is, has, or anything in front here? We just have one keyword usually. Then the question is, how are we going to address this question? Now, when you encounter such interesting questions, the first thing to do is to identify the tense. So in this case here, the tense is goes, right? Here. So goes is present tense. So when we encounter this, the next thing that we'll do is to look at this usually. So usually here is a positive connotation, which means that John does go to the market on Saturday, right? You're trying to show a completed action here, okay? So in this case here, if it's does and it's positive connotation, the blank here will be doesn't he, okay? To use a negative connotation. And that's how we deal with such tricky question tag questions, okay? Now, just give everyone some time to take in the information here for the first 5 questions before we move on to our next part. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding of this paper regarding English, right, you can always ask in the chat. Okay, so if there are no further questions, then let's move on to our next 5 questions of grammar. So look at question 6 now. Peter continued with the marathon, dash being tired. Okay, so this question here is testing you on your conjunctions. So what are conjunctions? Conjunctions are words that combine your different pieces of information together. Okay. Now, there are 2 different pieces of information here. Firstly, we observe how Peter continued with the marathon. This is information number 1. The second piece is at the back here. Peter is tired. And we can see that there is some kind of contrast between these pieces of information. If somebody is tired, it is very likely that he will give up. Okay, very good. Who is this? Forever 11. Okay, you put despite. Are there any more answers? Yeah, for this question here, number 2 is the correct answer because we are looking at how there is some kind of contrast. Okay, but wait. If you look at the other options, although here is also used for contrast. So why don't we choose the word although? It's some food for thought for everybody. Why not although? Okay, the reason is simple. When you use the word although, it needs to be followed by a noun and a verb. On the other hand, if you were to use despite, you just need a noun. Okay, so in this case here, tired here is your continued despite being tired. Okay, over here we are looking at a noun, right? Tired. That's why our answer is number 2. Now, if we are going to use although, the sentence would become although Peter was feeling tired, he continued with the marathon. Okay, I'm not going to finish writing it. Hello, Yan Yan. So in this case here, you can see that the feeling is your verb, is your action. And the next one we observe is tired. The tiredness here is your noun. And therefore, we use the word although in this situation. I hope everybody can follow. Now, let's take a look at the other two options. I think it's pretty straightforward. Because is used to show reason. Until is used to show up to a point in time. Okay? I'm P5. Okay. Yes, very good. P5 and P6 students should be doing papers that are tagged to that primary 6 standard. Okay, because eventually you are training yourself up for the primary school PSLE, right? And PSLE, we need to make sure that we are up to the standard of PSLE. Okay, it's never too late to start. It's very good to start in P5 so that you can get used to the system. Okay, forever 11. Now, I just want to point out to everybody, this question is very nice. It only tests you on despite and although. There are more challenging questions that will include another word, however, and what is the other one? Oh, nonetheless or nevertheless. Okay, so those are the more interesting questions where you have 4 different conjunctions that show contrast. Then the next question for everybody is, how do we differentiate them? Right? Okay, the rule of thumb is simple. When we encounter words like however or nonetheless, yes, they show contrast, but the whole idea is that the contrasting information are in 2 different sentences. Okay, so what do I mean? If we were to use this content here in our question, and I'm going to use the word however, it will be something like this. Peter was tired. However, he continued with the marathon. Okay? Why make things complicated? Well, the examiner makes things complicated. So as students, as teachers who are preparing ourselves for this PSLE, we need to know when and how to use the different conjunctions. Okay? I think that's the beauty of the language, where something simple can be made complicated and vice versa, right? Our friend Mark. So I just like to highlight to everybody the different ways they can test you so that you can be well prepared for your examinations. Can follow so far? So back to what I was talking about earlier. However and nonetheless or nevertheless, they are used in the same way. You have information 1 and information 2 here. And what is happening is that your however or your nonetheless is in the middle of both sentences. Can you see that? And what we are doing here is that we are trying to connect them. So is it even though? We don't have even though anywhere, okay? Chill guy. Now, even though is another contrasting word and a conjunction, and it functions the same way as although. Okay? My answer for question 6 is number 2. Okay, so you can just refer here, even though and although. Here, this is the explanation why we don't use it. Okay, I highlighted in blue. Can follow so far, everybody? I just hope that we can be well aware and prepared for such questions. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at number 7 now. Shanice dash on the grass and gaze at the stars in awe. Okay, this is a very famous question. It comes out every year. We are testing students on tenses over here. Okay, first thing to observe is the word gaze, because this is in past tense. Okay, so we need a word that is in past tense as well for our blank. Now, let's take a look at these 4 options. The first one is lie. So lie here has 2 meanings. First, it means that you are in a resting position. You lie down on the ground. Next, it means that you give false information. You lie to your parents. Okay? And both of these are in present tense. Okay, I write the P here means present tense. Next, we have the word lay. So lay here also has 2 meanings. Firstly, it means put something on the floor. Okay, and this is in past tense. It also can mean that you are in a resting position. And this is in past tense as well. Okay. Now we have laid, L-A-I-D. This is in past tense. And it basically means that you put something down gently or carefully. Okay, just let me correct myself. So here, put something down, this is actually in present tense, okay? Then lastly, we have lain. Lain is the past participle of lie. So we're looking at some kind of resting position on the ground. Can follow, everybody? So first thing that we observe is I need a past tense. So definitely number 1 is out. I'm looking at number 2 and number 3. Number 4 also be out because it's in the wrong tense. Now this question is a bit of vocabulary as well, because we are looking at what Shanice is doing here, which is how she is in a resting position on the ground, right? So we need to look at a word which shows this, and the correct answer would be number 2, resting position and past tense. So the answer will be number 2. Can follow so far? Yes, chill guy, this is a tenses question, but at the same time you also need to know your vocabulary well. Okay, every year there will be one school that will test students this question, and usually it is either talking about somebody lying on the grass in a resting position, or they will test you the putting something on the floor gently, the lay something down. For example, lay the mat on the floor. Okay, I've seen the 2022, 23, 24 papers. Yeah, every year is either testing on one of these. So we just need to be very careful on our vocabulary and also look at the question's context. Can? I believe this question will come out again this year. Just that the context of the question will change. So you need to be very alert. All right, let's move on to number 8 now. By the end of next month, Mr. Tan dash a train instructor. So question 8 here is testing you on tenses once again. Okay, but don't worry, it's easier. It's an easier question. First thing that we observe is end of next month. which tells me of a future event. Okay, so looking at the options, we have becomes, present tense and singular. Next is the word is becoming. So is becoming here is present continuous. Okay, and this means that my action is ongoing as I speak. Has become. This is present perfect. Okay, and this is used to show that my action is completed, but the effect is still being felt. And will have become is talking about future tense. So we are looking at something that will take place sometime in the future. Okay, and if we look closely at this question, by the end of next month is a future event. Therefore, my answer will be number 4. Okay. I'll say that this question is quite straightforward. We haven't looked at those questions that test you on past perfect tense. Okay, and those that need the timeline. Okay, so if you guys are joining me later for our 4:15 p.m. lesson, I hope to show you guys this special kind of question. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at question 9 now. I practice hard for the competition, but so dash all the other competitors, then said. Now, this question here tests on tenses. Okay, tenses have different kinds of questions, different types of questions that they can test you on. Okay, so this question here shows you that the boy has practiced. So this is in past tense. And we are also looking at how his fellow competitors has done the same thing. So it will also be in past tense as well, right? So looking at the options, the closest answer we have is number 2. So did all the other competitors. Okay. Do is present tense plural. Does present tense singular. Did is in past tense. Done is in participle form. Okay. So I hope everybody can follow so far. Okay, let's take a look at number 10 now. Kelly suddenly spotted a suspicious person dash in the school canteen. Okay, so this question here is testing you on tenses. And we're looking at how the suspicious person is engaging in an ongoing action. All right. So in this case here, to show that the action is continuous, we need to use continuous form, which means our answer will be number 3, loitering. Okay. Now looking at the other options, loiters, this is present tense singular. Loitered, this is past tense. And was loitering, this is in past continuous tense. Which means that my action was occurring sometime in the past. Can follow so far, everybody? And with that, we have come to the end of this grammar section. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information first before we move on to our next section. Okay? Okay. Good. Okay. If we have no questions here, then let's take a look at some vocab questions now. Okay, so look at number 11. The teacher's dash remarks brought a blush to Conan's cheeks and a smile to his face. Okay, so over here, we're looking at how the boy is feeling kind of embarrassed, right? The clue is here. So we are looking at a word to describe the remarks that would make Conan embarrassed. So looking at the options, the first one is belittling. So belittling here means that you are dismissive of a person or thing. So in other words, you are looking down on the person. You think that the person is lousy. Next is the word haughty. So haughty here means that you are very arrogant, you are very cocky. You think that you are better than other people. Okay. Thirdly, we have flattering. So flattering here means that you are full of praise or compliment of somebody. That means you are telling somebody that you are very good, something like that. And lastly, we have sentimental. So sentimental here means that you are prompted by feelings of nostalgia. That means you're trying to recall the past events. Okay. Where is Che Yao? Okay, Che Yao isn't teaching this week, but I'm sure that he would be on live next week or the week after. Okay, so do catch up on our TikTok schedule. That's where you know who will be teaching. Okay, our friend who just asked that question. Now back to question 11. So we are looking at some kind of remarks that made Conan embarrassed, right? So the embarrassed here, well, you can see not only embarrassment but smile to his face. So it is unlikely that the teacher is talking bad about Conan. Probably something so good that he feels quite uncomfortable hearing it. Okay, so in this case here, the closest answer would be number 3, flattering. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to question 12. A series of tornadoes left a dash of destruction across the country. So this question here, we see some kind of tornado and it's a series, which means that there are a few of them, a few tornadoes. Okay, hello, Che. My name is also Nathan. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so we are looking at how this destruction is across the country, which means that there is a start and end point to this destruction. So think of it like this: your starting point, your ending point, and there's destruction all the way on this little diagram, this road, right? So we are looking at a word to describe this thing. So if we were to look at the options, the first one is trail. Trail means that there are some signs that an object is left behind by something else or somebody else. Okay, is it one? Okay, who is this? Higher Ferdi. I think it's, yep, correct. So in this case here, our answer is one, a trail of destruction. Okay, so it's like the leftover. Now, if you look at option 2, 3, and 4, all of them actually talk about something about road, right? Something about trail. So why do we not use that? Okay, I think that's something that we need to consider. Option 2 here, road. This basically means your road from start to end. So it's basically just the way to finish a particular marathon or maybe to get to a particular destination. Okay. Circuit means that it's basically a circular route that starts and finishes at the same place. So it's like a small little circle, then it's like your driving circuit and things like that. That means you start here, and then you drive one round, you'll end up at the same place. Right? And passage, question 4, you are looking at moving from one place to another. Okay? Can move out, I can't have a copy. Okay. Number 11, is it? Our friend, who is this? Okay, higher further, is it true? Because we do not know the endpoint. And also the keyword across. Yes, the keyword across is something that we consider. But I think the more important thing is the idea that this is what the objects that are left behind. The keyword actually is the left behind. Okay? Okay, can. That's the keyword, okay? Now, moving on to question 13. Even though Fiona is an award-winning writer in Southeast Asia, she remains dash outside the region. Okay, a few things to take note. Firstly, we look at even though, we show some kind of contrast. Next, we note that she is award-winning in Southeast Asia, but the contrast is that in outside the region, she probably isn't familiar with people. Okay, we have a lot of answers already. Number 1. Yeah, very good. So in this case here, the answer actually is number 1, unknown, right? Because unknown means you're not familiar. That means people don't know Fiona, right? Now, let's take a look at the other options. So secondly, we have the word unbearable. So unbearable here means that you are not able to endure or tolerate. Okay? So usually we can talk about unbearable heat, etc. Next is unbeatable. So unbeatable here means that cannot be defeated. So probably we are looking at somebody who is very good at something. Unbeatable in tennis or in badminton. That means you cannot lose the person because the person is just so good. Next is unforgettable, which means that something is very memorable. So you remember it very well. Okay, so in this case here, our answer, as we have shared, is number 1. Okay. Now, moving on, let's take a look at number 14. Having been in the same job for many years, Mrs. Lee decided to dash on her own and start a business. Okay, so we are looking at how Mrs. Lee has been on the same job. So she basically left the job to start the business. Okay, so we are looking at the phrasal verb to show that she um, started doing something on her own. So let's take a look at the options given to us. The first one is strike up. So when you strike up, it means that you start a conversation with somebody. Okay, next one is strike off. So strike off over here means that you're trying to remove somebody from membership. Okay, so for example, we are looking at somebody who did something wrong, then was struck off the membership list. Okay, our friend says, is it number 1? Okay, look at the question. We are looking at how Mrs. Lee began her business. It's not talking about starting a conversation. We need to be very clear, yeah. Okay, next one is strike out. Strike out means you start a new or independent task or endeavor. Yeah, very good. Hey Fadi and Justoli. Yes, so in this case here is number three. Because this new task that we are looking at is the business. Mrs. Lee's own business. Yeah. Okay, lastly, we have strike down. So strike down here means that you abolish a law. Okay, so usually the government will strike down something. Okay, yeah, so that will be our answer for our question 14. Yeah, very good, Adrian. Okay, let's move on to number 15 now. Mrs. Lee encouraged her daughter to read dash by sharing with her a wide variety of books. So the key word is wide variety of books. So we are looking at how the daughter would look at different content. So maybe fiction, non-fiction, magazines, comics. Okay, very good, Hey Fadi. Are there any different answers? Right, so for question 15, our answer is number 4. Okay, very good, Adrian. The reason is because extensively means you cover a wide area. So probably different topics. Okay, let's quickly look at the other options to learn. So promptly means immediately, no delay. Okay. Next, we have studiously, which means that somebody is very careful about doing things. And generously means that you give more than expected. Okay. Okay. Right. I think we're very thank you so much everyone for following so far. Right. I think I'm very encouraged by the fact that many of you are actively, taking charge of your learning, giving the answers, and probably you are writing it down, all the different meanings at home as well. So good job, everyone. Okay, I just like to point out, right, to who's this? Pick X, is it? Right, that most of the information that we are sharing can actually be accessed online as well. Okay, so I think the very fact that you are present here already shows to the world and to everyone that actually what we are sharing here is actually free of charge. Yeah, and in so doing, we hope that such information can be accessible to everyone. Okay, so I'm not really sure why you are expressing some kind of unhappiness about certain issues at hand. All right, I just hope that everybody is able to make use of this opportunity to learn. Okay, why last week no live on Sunday and Saturday? Because the teachers are were not available, Adrian. Okay, so just for everybody to know that that the teachers are busy, and we take time off to actually share information on our TikTok, which is free of charge and for everybody to learn, right? Yep. So I hope that everybody can understand the intent of where we are coming from, and if you need more help, right, with composition, with other aspects of our English lesson, yeah, you can always join us for our lessons that are our paid lessons. Okay, and for our friends who maybe need more information regarding papers, you can always go to our YouTube. there are free resources there for you to watch, right? TikTok recordings, videos about English. And I think those are free resources that are really helpful for our friends. Okay. So now let's go to our this is our vocabulary close. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to read through the text with you. We're going to understand the meanings of the underlined words first. Okay. So once we are done with that, then we'll choose the options and I'll explain why the other options cannot be the answer. Okay, look at the text now. Can't wait to immerse yourself in a day of fun within a virtual world. When Sparky Land is inaugurated in 2 months' time, you can. Okay, so inaugurated here, question 16, means that you introduce something. Okay, so in this case is you're trying to introduce the theme park. Okay, I think of it like you're trying to introduce Disneyland or Universal Studios Singapore to your friend, right? Armed with a headset and virtual goggles, visitors to this revolutionary theme park will experience a virtual world of rides and games. So revolutionary here means cause a very dramatic change. Okay, so we are looking at something that is like, whoa, you will completely change your perception about something. The theme park's upcoming opening has generated much fanfare, promising its visitors an experience that is unparalleled. So unparalleled here means there's nothing that is better than this. That means you're saying that Sparky Land is the best. In other words, okay. Now, public anticipation has intensified as the official opening day draws near. So draw near means it comes closer. Okay, or it's the event is going to happen very, very soon. A huge crowd is expected to join in the festivities on its opening day. So festivities here means that you're trying to celebrate something. Okay? I hope everybody is following so far. Okay, so let's take a look at the options. Look at number 16, inaugurated. So the first word here is initiated. Right? So initiated here means you begin something. So for example, you initiate a conversation with your friend. That means you start talking to him in simple terms. Next is the word triggered. So triggered here means you cause something to start. So for example, the fire triggered the alarm. That means the alarm started ringing because of the fire. Thirdly is the word launch. Launch means you start an activity or enterprise. Okay, so in other words, you're trying to start a particular event, open a place, open a shop, etc. Yes, Jeff, this is P6 English, 2022 Nanyang paper. Okay. Lastly, we have originated, which means that you begin from somewhere. Okay. So in this case here, the closest answer we have is launched, because we are looking at how Sparky Land, which is a place, was opened, right? And it's gonna like take in visitors to the amusement park. Can? Now the next word that we are looking at is revolutionary. So let's take a look at the options given to us. First one is novel. So novel means something is new and original. Next we have exotic. Exotic means something is very unusual or unfamiliar. And this is because the particular object comes from a faraway place. So for example, we can say that this is a very exotic car, because maybe the car came from some faraway country. Okay, usually your sports cars, right? That comes from Europe. Next is the word futuristic. Futuristic means something is very modern. Okay. And lastly, we have the word conventional, which means something is very familiar. Something is generally done or believed. Okay. So in this case here, when we're looking at how this is revolutionary, that means something is dramatic, something is, will make you go wow, right? The closest answer we have would be number one. Something is very novel. Okay. Because it's when it's new and original, your perception, your mindset would completely change, right? And therefore, this word dramatic is being used. Okay, let's take a look at number 18 now. So we have the word unparalleled, which means nothing is better than the particular thing that we are looking at. So look at the options. Option one here is unusual, which means something is not common or not common. Okay. So for example, you would say that it's very unusual for somebody to wear the winter jacket in Singapore because the weather is very hot, right? It's not commonly seen or not, it's not an action that we do. Next is the word unrivaled. So unrivaled here means something is better than everybody else. Okay. Then we have uncommon. So uncommon means something is out of ordinary. Okay, it's similar to the word unusual, option one. And lastly, we have underestimated. So underestimated here means something is smaller or less important than it really is. Okay. Okay, Hugh7 say number two. Yep, correct. So our answer here is number two. Because we are saying that the theme park is better than other similar ones. Because of their some virtual reality thing that we saw earlier, yeah? Yeah, the virtual goggles. Good job, Hugh. Okay, let's move on. Look at number 19 now. The opening day draws near. Hello, Zen. So when we're looking at draw near, we're looking at how something is closer and closer to the particular day. Okay, so let's take a look at the options. The first one is looms. So looms means appear as a large frightening shape. Okay, Zen say number 4. Or Yi Zhen. Okay, yes. So for question 19 here, the answer actually is number 4. Why is it so? Because approaches means nearer to the date. Okay. You also have number 3, converges. So converge means you meet at a point. So maybe you can say that the two roads converge at the traffic junction, which means that this road, if your car is here and if your car is on the other side, you will meet somewhere. Okay, so that means converge. You meet this place. Or is Yi Zhen. Okay, Yi Zhen. Okay, and lastly, we have the word advances. So advances here means that you move forward or you make progress. Okay. I'll say number 19 is quite straightforward because there's only one option, which is number 4, that is related to the time, which is your date, right? The rest of them just shows some forward movement. Okay, let's take a look at our last question, 20. So you want to join in the festivities of the opening day. So festivities here means it's like a day to celebrate something, right? Usually it's a happy occasion. So looking at the options, the first one is formalities. So formalities means that you're trying to observe the etiquette. So it's something like during your prize presentation, because of the formality, you will need to sing the school song, you need to wear your uniform with the tie, right? Things like that. Next is promotions. So promotions means that you're trying to have a public event to raise awareness about something. So for example, you have those kind of promotions where uh, give you a discount to buy things. Okay, Ezhen say number 3, Adrian says number 4. Okay, celebrations. Okay, just follow me closely. It's basically a social event like a party. Right, and it's to commemorate something happy, commemorate happy occasion, happy events. On the other hand, observances means that you're trying to observe the requirement of a law. Okay, so in this case here, the closest answer we have actually is number 3, because we are looking at the happy occasion. Okay, the observances does not talk about this happy occasion, so we will not consider it for our answer. Okay. Okay, you want to take note of the meanings, is it, Adrian? Okay, I hope this you can see the options clearly now. Okay, I'll leave the screen here for a while so our friends who are copying the answers can see it clearly. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in our chat, okay? Okay, let me drink some water first, then we can go on to our our next part, yeah? Okay. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at our next part, right? We're going to take a look at some grammar close questions first, okay? Here. Okay, the question reads, have you ever wondered what the Earth looked like 300 million years ago? There was swamps and marshes everywhere, and it was warmer than it dash today. So we are pointing at these particular occurrences. We're trying to point to these locations, right? Okay, very good, Adrian. So we'll say there. Then today, so present tense, and we're looking at warmer. So this is a singular subject, just temperature alone, right? So it will be it's warmer than it is today. Okay, so next one is G. Ancient trees, ferns, and plants grew everywhere. Very weird looking animals roamed the earth. And fish that look dash stranger live deep in the oceans and seas. So over here, we're looking at the word stranger. We are trying to emphasize the fact, that the fish look very weird. Okay, very good, Adrian. So in this case here, we will say even to emphasize this fact. When dash prehistoric plants and animals died, their bodies decomposed in the same way. So we are looking at a plural subject here. All right. So it will be when all these. Okay, eaten, very good. For question 32 now, will be these. Okay. Their body decompose in the same way dash organisms do today. So we are looking at how the past biodiversity and the present do the same thing. They are similar. Right? So it will be in the same way as these organisms decompose. The dead organisms became buried, dash layers of mud, rock, sand, and water. Okay, so for question 34, the keyword actually is buried. So when you bury something, okay, imagine this is your ground. Then you put the object at the bottom here, then you put the sand, put your soil above like that. So in a sense, it gets stacked up. So what we're looking at is the dead organisms being at the bottom of all your sand and soil stacking up. Okay, yeah, very good, Adrian. So this answer here will be under. It is a preposition. Gradually, these layers built up and dash began to exert a great amount of pressure. So we are looking at how the layers here exerted a pressure. Okay, for question 35 here, you can see that the layers built up, and you can see that every one of the layers, okay, every one of the layers. So we'll say each of the layers. Okay. We cannot use H. I think Adrian put H. Yi also put H. Okay, over here, this is a bit more tricky. The answer is each. Okay, and because it here is used to show singular subject. Okay, but in this case, layers here is plural. It's like imagine your lasagna, many different layers stacked up. Right? So our answer will not be H, it will be C. And they begin to exert a great amount of pressure, dash the layers below it. So when you have pressure, you need to apply the pressure on the surface of object. Am I right? So in this case here, the preposition that we use for 36 would be on. Okay, maybe we stop here for a bit. Okay, I'd just like to go through a question 35 once again, especially for our friends who did not catch the explanation the first time. Okay, so the keyword that I look at is layers. Layers is plural. As such, I can't use the word it because it shows a singular object. So instead of just saying that the layers begin to exert pressure, what I'm trying to say is that every layer exerts the pressure. So actually, I'm changing the meaning of the sentence. Okay. Now, Rina asked to explain question 30. Why is it not was? Okay, look at the keyword is today. So we are looking at how there were swamps and marshes everywhere, and it was warmer than it dash today. Okay, so two things that we need to remember. Firstly, we are looking at today and how the past was warmer compared to the present. So the comparison is back to present. That's why we use present tense. Okay, let me just write it down. Comparison is with the present. Okay. Another way that I can explain question 30 is that this fact here. Okay, follow me. I'm going to highlight in purple. This fact. This is a fact. Okay. And when we encounter facts, we will always use present tense. Okay. That's why we always say the sun rises from the east and sets in the west. Right? We will never say the sun rose in the east, sets in the west. We will never say that the earth was round. We always say the earth is round because these are facts. They happen even as we talk. So in a sense, it is still, we are still in present tense. Okay? Rina, I hope that explains, that allows you to understand why the answer for question 30 is. Okay? Okay, I think there are two more answers. So let's take a look at the question first. Once I've read it to you, then we take a look at the options, okay? So you can see the type of fossil fuels that form depended on whether it was the remains dash plant or animals or both. Okay, so the remains here, the remains here has a relationship to the plants or animals, so it belongs to either one of them, right? Okay, so Adrian is quite fast. He said remains off. Are there any more answers? Yeah, very good, Ethan. So in this case here, the preposition that we use to show the relationship between the remains as well as the plants or animals would be off. So the answer is K. And dash long the organisms had been buried. So we are looking at the quantity here, how the time period, right? So we need to use the word how long. Can we see? So the answer will be F. Okay. I hope everybody can follow me so far in this grammar close. I would say that this grammar close actually isn't very difficult. All right. It just requires you to be careful with the keywords. And thank you so much, everyone, for following me so far. Okay. Okay. Now let's take a look at some editing questions first. Okay. Have you ever played multiplayer video games or even just watched someone else play? If you had, you will know how thrilling these games can be. So thrilling here is a spelling error. So this is how you spell it. In many ways, competitive video games are very similar dash traditional sports. So when you ask, when we talk, Ethan is thrilling, okay? Because over here there's an ing as well, yeah. Okay, yeah, everyone is very fast. So when we talk about how something is very similar, there needs to, and we give the example of what it is similar. We always use the preposition to. Okay, so very good. Players train and practice and develop their proficiency in these chosen games. Okay, so proficiency is spelled wrongly. Yep, so this is how you spell it. Yeah, very good. Who is this? Ellie Santosh. In an effort to dash the best. Okay, so over here, we're trying to say that they want to be the best because we're looking at present tense. Okay. They develop new strategies and techniques. So this is a spelling error again. Okay. I'll say that this question here is not very difficult. You just need to be very careful with your spelling. Adrian, there needs to be an S, yeah. Techniques. Ethan put that way. I rarely see this word. Give me a moment, let me take a look. Techniques. No, we will still use okay, what Ethan, your answer here, this is a synonym of techniques. Okay? So they are very close. But there's a difference. Because when we talk about techniques, the one that you have suggested, it basically talks about the method of performance. Okay, well, whereas for the word techniques here, we are just looking at the different the different styles. Okay, so when we talk about, let's say, the game of soccer, your techniques here maybe the different ways of playing, the different ways of defeating opponent. Whereas when you talk about techniques here, it may refer to like the kicking style, the moving around the field, the communication. Okay, so in other words, techniques, this one, the correct answer is like the big picture. Okay, it tells you the everything that you need to know about beating another opponent. Whereas for these techniques, we're looking at smaller picture. We're looking at, for example, specific action that the player needs to take. Can follow so far? They are very close, just that the meaning is different, so we need to be clear on when to use what. Okay, so the short answer is you cannot use it because it's a different meaning. I hope everyone can follow so far. I'll say that the two words are quite similar and teacher, so cher, is it wrong? Yes, it's wrong. So we need to put techniques. Okay. But Ethan, that such a word that you suggested is you can find it in the dictionary. Okay, just there is a different meaning from what we are looking at. Okay, so instead of working on how fast to run or throw a ball, most okay, so you cannot use the word most here, yeah, because this is superlative. Correctly, so we're trying to compare two actions, right? So in this sense, it'll be throw a ball more correctly. Video game players focus more on dash their minds, reflexes, and finger dexterity. So this answer here will be training. Okay? Because this is a juron. So we're trying to look at a particular verb that functions as a noun. Okay? To excel in virtual playing field. This is quite straightforward. Finally, they face off against each other in intense head-to-head matches. So intense is spelled this way. Today, more and more people are taking video games seriousness. Okay, so over here, we're looking at the adverb to show the manner in which people play video games. Okay, Ethan, excel is not correct. Excel is E-X-C-E-L. Okay. Adrian, which answer you want to see? Have you seen your what you want? Okay, so number 48 here is seriously. Okay, when you have an adverb, there must always be the ly at the back. Okay, very good, Adrian. Okay, number 49. Dash as esports, these professional video game competitions are drawing massive audiences. So over here, we are looking at how it is known as esports, because we are looking at how this action is really completed. Okay. Then lastly is massive. So massive is spelled this way. Okay. Yeah, very good, Ethan. The answer is correct. Okay, with that, we have come to the end of this segment. Are there any questions? Anybody? Okay. If there are no further questions, then sure, what is BUR? Where did I write that? Where is blurb? Where is it? Okay, maybe you can point out which question I'm talking about. I don't see it on my paper. Maybe you have misread it. Okay, for the rest of our friends here, it's not in the questions. Okay, maybe, okay, if it's not in the questions, then it's good. Okay, for rest of our friends here, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon on our Writers at Work TikTok session. I'm teacher Nathan, and I'll be carry on with another lesson this afternoon, 4:50, about 4:45 p.m. We'll take a look at hey, there's still one more. Do I have already? Yeah, later then we'll go through the other one, Adrian. I know you are very fast. Maybe you have finished the paper already. That's good. Okay, we will take a short break first. I've been speaking for almost 1.5 hours already. Okay, so we'll take a short break. Then we'll come back and since you have already finished the comprehension close, Adrian, we can do that first. Then we will look at another paper. Okay, I'll see everybody back shortly. Okay, bye bye.